Recognize the gentleman from Texas 33rd District, 5 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. And want to also say, this is great, the historic and bipartisan Infrastructure and Investment Job Acts. We're delivering on a promise to create a more digitally inclusive and equal society. And I continue to hear stories all over Dallas-Fort Worth about helping to bridge the digital divide. We have neighborhoods now, lower income neighborhoods, that have free access to Wi-Fi so kids can do homework and people can start businesses. And the Affordable Connectivity Program, or the ACP, is also another success story that highlights the benefits of making broadband internet affordable for low-income households. And after California, Texas, and Florida have the highest ACP enrollment rates in the country. And I think Commissioner O'Reilly put it well in his recent op-ed, and it said American poverty is not isolated to urban areas, but distributed throughout our country. In blue areas and red areas, the opportunity gap resulting from unequal broadband access really impacts all regions. American families from all walks of life are connecting to high-speed, reliable, and affordable broadband internet at unprecedented levels. And for instance, in the chairman's district in Ohio, close to 50,000 households are enrolled in the ACP. The title of today's hearing is Breaking Barriers, Streamlining, Permitting to Expedite Broadband Deployment. But I would also urge my colleagues to engage in a conversation about the sustainability of ACP, which is targeted to help eligible households afford broadband once it's deployed. And I hope this is an issue that we can work on together, because it's obviously something that's helping all of our districts. My question, Commissioner O'Reilly, in the op-ed that you wrote, you said more broadband deployment does not necessarily equate to greater adoption. Broadband will remain inaccessible to poorer families if affordability is ignored. And I couldn't agree with you more. You urged Congress to prioritize extending ACP by adding additional funds. Can you elaborate on why you think it is so important for Congress to get to work on extending the program, which is likely to deplete mid-next year, if not sooner?
That's right. Mid-next year sounds about where the estimates are. And I just correct one point earlier. I think the program actually is authorized. It's we talked about permanency. I think it exists. It's really a question of funding.
Right.
Yes, sir. I think it's a question of funding.
Funding, right, exactly.
And then that's something to be addressed. But to your point, I think there's a portion of American families that will all be challenged by the budgets that they face and the circumstances they face, and it's both in urban centers and also in very rural America. The jobs, and depending on the economic situations that they face, that they're going to not be able to afford broadband. And if we believe, and I do, and in my previous jobs believe the benefits of broadband and should be available to all Americans, well, then we have to address something on the affordability side. And I think ACP is structured the best that that Congress and the government has created an affordable program. Others have had lacking. There's still some improvements to be had here. Can address some waste, fraud, and abuse in the program. May look at eligibility, but overall, ACP is the best we've had, and I'd like to see Congress add some funds to it.
Yeah, in your op-ed, you also talked about the positive externalities of broadband adoption with respect to helping government operate more efficiently and generating economic activity. Can you expand on that and describe the negative impacts that the loss of ACP would have on families that rely on it, and on businesses and local communities if families are suddenly no longer able to afford broadband service?
Oh, absolutely. Broadband and accessibility and affordability. Having broadband, reduces the cost for government. There's just so many services that would no longer need to be in the paper form. Will be in, you can reduce populations in terms of in DC. You can, scatter offices. You can do all kinds of different things that are more efficient. And can reduce the cost for government services, but it's on the small business side. It's in bringing, options and opportunity to so many different families that don't have it today, in terms of services that they may have, or to be able to, access to retail and so many different things that they just don't have in their local communities, and the supplies and and the job side of the equation. I've been and sat in families' kitchens when they're trying to figure out how do they, their job's moving away. And the employer says, you can work remotely, and they say, I don't have broadband, what do I do?
Yeah. No, thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Thank you. The gentleman yields back. The balance